Hey y'all, it's Shani, Certified Feline Training and Behavior Specialist with Wild at Heart, and you probably are not feeding your cat enough food. More accurately, you're not feeding them as many times as they should be eating throughout the day. Now, in the wild, cats would be eating 8 to 20 small meals a day, which generally would mean 8 to 20 small critters, and each little mouse is only about 30 calories each, which equals about 10 to 15 little pieces of kibble or 1 ounce of wet food. Your cat's stomach is about the size of a ping pong ball, so they shouldn't be eating more than that in one meal. And I would guess that most cats are only eating 2 times a day, which is just not enough, and it can actually lead to a lot of behavioral problems. I know it can be really difficult to feed your cat that many times during the day, especially if you work full time, but there are ways that you can feed your cat at least 5 times a day, which is what experts say that your cat should be eating a minimum of 5 times a day. And hopefully they're eating mainly wet food. I have a bunch of videos about the importance of wet food, but there are ways that you can feed your cat that many times a day, even if you work full time. So some ideas to do that is you could feed your cat before you get ready for work, and then you can feed them again before you leave for work. Cats are pretty great with not overeating if you are feeding them enough times during the day. Now, if your cat is only eating 2 times a day, I guarantee you that a lot of times they might scarf and barf, which is a funny way of saying that they eat too fast and then they barf, but they're not like dogs. Dogs will eat until they throw up all the time. You can't really leave a bunch of food out for a dog. Cats will eat their food and then they'll come back later and they'll finish it. You can also use automatic feeders, and some of them are sealed, so you can put wet food in there and they will stay fresh. You can also use treat balls, tiny Kongs that you can fill with wet food. Sometimes people even freeze the wet food in the Kong, so it takes the cat even longer to get that wet food out, or it just gradually defrosts during the day, which keeps it fresh. Maybe you can come home on your lunch break and feed your cat, or maybe you have a partner with a different schedule that can feed your cat. And then when you immediately come home from work, feed them again, and then right before bed, do that very important play session and then feed them again. We really need to look at the evolution and science of cats and feed them in a way that is appropriate for their species, because when we don't do things that are appropriate for the species, we end up having a lot of behavioral problems. So do your best to feed your cats at least 5 times a day, and let's see how much happier your cats can be.